You didn't believe anything that I said. When they came, you were not prepared. Then it all fell right on your head. And now you're lying in your bed. You've got yourself in a rabbit hole. You're trapped 'cause you did not let go. You took that bait and now...
Hey everybody, it's Carrie with Alice Eats the Apple, and I am here with my good buddy Mitch Aaron Owens.
Hi, Carrie.
That sort of has morphed over the years.
Yeah.
The name has sort of morphed. So you will remember Mitch. If you want to know more about his backstory, I always refer to him as Lightning Bolt Mitch, my buddy that was struck by lightning. He just to give a fast recap, we had him on, I think we had you on more than one, but we originally had you on Joyride Show number 74. So you can go back on the YouTube channel. Apparently, I'm not supposed to say the YouTube channel. Anyway, on YouTube, the channel that says Joyride Show. So that's when we first met Mitch.
Yeah, I think there was 4 or 5 others that happened after that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I mean, just to be a part of your awakening, I mean, it's just been this massive, oh my gosh. I mean, it's almost a flip. You almost flipped from, well, you did. You're a walk-in.
I did flip. Yeah.
So when did you really realize that you were, okay, so he was struck by lightning. I always say, this is how I describe you. I don't know if you've ever heard me say this. You probably have. That there was, it's like Rambo. Tours, did several tours. How many tours did you do in the military?
I served a total of 21 years.
That's a long time. How many times were you in combat?
A lot of times.
A lot of those 21. And then you were home.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't doing very well, physically.
Right, and I did time with Blackwater USA too. And
you said that.
Yep, don't care.
He used to not say that. So then one day, so you were on, anyway, you weren't doing very well.
No.
Physically.
No.
And then one day he's outside unloading the car and struck by lightning.
Yes,
So
in front of the ex-wife, yeah.
yes. And then we realized that, I mean, fast forward, it wasn't really lightning.
No, it's plasma, right. Yeah.
Okay, tell me what that is.
Well, Cole Franklin actually enlightened me with the plasma has consciousness aspect, and plus the downloads that I've received since then has enlightened me to the fact that it wasn't lightning. It was from a deity known as Apu Yapo, which is the god of thunder and lightning in Peru, and the upper Peruvian Andean mountains are called Apu Yapo. And I didn't know what an Apu Yapo was. So he came forward first through Jamie Butler and described why and what was going on. So that's our awakening point was at that point.
Okay, so prior to that day,
yeah,
how were you? I mean, I'm just going to go back. I know we can go back and watch this, but I'm just going to ask
prior
questions.
to the strike?
Yep.
Okay. Prior to the strike, I was 100% permanent and totally disabled American combat veteran, and with a whole host of things from 3 broken backs and osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, and just a host of crap from the military. And basically was sitting around waiting to die. I was in a relationship that was dead in the water, and for 20 years just surviving basically. And I actually wrote in a journal, and you know how we think it, we speak it, we write it, it becomes. Well, 6 months after writing, I'm gonna kill myself and take the vessel with me unless you take me home. 6 months later, while getting groceries, I was in the driveway. The now ex-wife was 10 feet away, and it was like the biggest bomb I had ever experienced in my life. Blew me to the ground, and at that point, Jesus stood over and said, "Mitch, you still want to go?" And I did. He did. I did. So just know that while we speak, everything before 2015 is Mitch. I don't want to do the multiple personality disorder thing here. So everything after December 2015 is Aaron.
So that's when you walked in. So
Yes.
he's standing over you, Mitch, do you want to go? So Mitch said yes at that
Yes.
point?
Yes.
So that's when Aaron walked in.
Aaron walked in, and there was an assimilation process. There was a talk back and forth with Mitch. You know, as you saw in Sedona when we were there, there was still a time frame that he was popping in and out to help guide me. But I was a first-timer to this realm, and I was trying to figure out how to work the meat suit. And Mitch was a great driver. Aaron is not such a great driver. You know, there's definite differences in personalities and things, but it was absolutely incredible. And I'm fully assimilated now and walking in my own power as a whole soul.
So how does that, I mean, it's such a silly question, but how does that feel? I mean, like the last 3 to 4 years, how does that journey feel, and how does it feel different from being Mitch to being Aaron, like in your body?
In the body, well, Mitch was 240 pounds, a knuckle-dragging, gun-shooting professional, gunslinging, gunfighter, spec ops kind of guy. And it flips a 180 into this healing energy guy. Mm-hmm. And as you saw in Sedona when we were there, I was basically coming out of my skin because the assimilation process had not completed, even though it was 2015 and that was 2018. I had still, well, plus the energies of Sedona, was not handling the meat suit well.
I don't like the energies of Sedona.
No, I don't either. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah. Sedona's a beautiful place, but it's not for everybody. There was a mission that had to be accomplished there with the crystals with Cole, and that got done with the 7th dimensional crystalline city. So that's why I was there with him.
Well, okay, so the way that looked from our standpoint, Tiffany and I had lunch with you, and it was just like, can't be here. I have to go. And
Yep.
and being in public was really difficult.
Difficult. Yes.
And it's I always say this. It reminds me of a battery. When I was a kid, you'd lick a battery.
Yeah.
And it would give you that.
The 9 volts. Yeah.
My brother used to say, "Here, look that," and it's like, okay. And so,
Yeah.
and it's that. But that's the way sometimes I feel, where it's like
Right.
everything's sandpaper, noises.
Yes.
And that's the way I felt. You felt.
Yeah.
It was just everything was so heightened and so
Yeah.
much, like too much.
I have bionic hearing now, I guess, and the VA says that I have such broad spectral hearing. They actually wanted me to wear hearing aids to stop the noise.
Oh, wow.
And I don't use them. I don't want to diminish
noise
my
canceling.
capability. Yeah, they're noise canceling, and they said wear them 24 hours a day, and I said no, not gonna. And you remember Mitch was a rock drummer his whole life.
Yeah.
And toured and made a lot of noise and had been blown up and shot and all that other stuff. So that kind of noise should have canceled out a lot of his hearing capabilities, but no.
That's true. That's a really good
It
point.
did not.
And especially being around guns and being around.
And shooting without hearing protection.
Wow. Well, and I remember you telling me the story, or telling us the story, Tiffany, that you had the slides. And it's so funny because I have told your story many times, and then I wonder how much of it has become morphed as I tell it.
Yes.
And I know that happens, and it's just kind of like the phone game. But I remember you saying that
Well, it continues to process as
well, from my standpoint, it's more than that. I mean, in my standpoint, it is I tell the story and then I tell it again and I tell it again, and so to help people understand what I'm talking about, I will throw something in, and it's like, okay, wait, is that for Mitch or is that for me? But meaning, you had told us that you had scans of your back and
Yes.
how they were, you were just busted up, and then you went back in and had scans
Right.
done. And what did they find?
Well, I had a T11 actual collapse due to the osteoporosis.
Where's that on the back?
A T11 is the thoracic area, so it's right above the. We have L1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so it's right above L1. So it actually fell like a chevron shape, and I knew that after the lightning strike, with all the different healings that were happening in my body, I said, okay. They did a scan of my fusion of L4-5 and saw that it had collapsed, and sent me to a bone density scan, which ended up bringing the acute osteoporosis in there. And it's not very common for a 50-year-old man to have osteoporosis acutely, and it was because of depleted uranium, chemical weapons, lead exposure, and antifoliage agents because of the South American drug operations and stuff like that. So I had been subjected to all those chemicals. And then pretty much 6 months after the lightning strike, with the different healing aspects that were occurring, I said, well, I would like another bone density scan, please. And the same lady that did the bone density scan, I kind of filled her in what was going on. And when I looked at her and she was scanning me, she started to cry because I just knew that those had been put back. And my bone density scan was clear. I no longer had acute osteoporosis.
And that collapsed it was fixed?
It was fixed. They put it back. The lightning strike the plasma strike put it back, yeah, corrected it.
I didn't make anything up.
Oh, no, that's a true fact.
I didn't exaggerate.
No, this is all evidentiary data and recorded in the VA medical records.
So they're like, nope, you don't get disability anymore.
Well,
You're
yeah,
healed.
no. That is a problem, but no, they don't know what to do with me.
Oh, I know, but you're an anomaly. But
I
it's
am.
well, okay, so this happens, and I'm not sure how long, because Allison Coe said, "Hey, reach out to Carrie," and you
Oh,
did,
man.
and that was. And again, if you want more detail on this, go back and watch the shows because they're fascinating. So we're just sort of skimming it to get you up to speed. So you reached out, and it was such a series of events. You had spoken with Jamie Butler,
Yes.
so you knew about channeling Eric, and then
Yes.
you knew our association with Elisa.
No, I didn't know anything about that.
Well, I thought you did.
No, I was just doing the channeling Eric thing, learning about things. And
We're just so hungry.
yeah, and well, Jamie was bringing in all kinds of different entities, and then when I got to finally talk to her, it took 8 months to talk to somebody that talks to the other side. When I finally got to talk to her, my teammates came through that were slaughtered in Iraq and thanked me for what I did. But she also told me that, the first thing is the little Lincoln Warrior dude that comes in and says, yeah, I hit you, but she had to tell him to slow down a little bit because he was speaking so fast. And I didn't know what an Apu was, and Apu is that planet Tiamat in the Bible.
So it's not a who, it's a what?
Well, Apu Yapo is a who. He's a deity. Apu Yapo is known as a god that visited. It's who they pray to.
See right there.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Yeah.
If he's a short little Incan warrior, then I would say he's with me. And then the red-haired giant was with us at the event. Yes,
This weekend.
And that's the whole idea. Is that Jamie Butler? Forgive me, Jamie, but I'm going to let it loose, except for what you told me not to. Is that Jamie Butler never has extraterrestrials come into her readings ever, only when Elisa had asked for different things, or people had asked. And I started out with 5 and then ended up with 7, and then we have this massive team of over 20 that show up. And I don't have readings with her anymore. I'm able to bring Eric in and other people in now. But it was really fascinating to have them come in and support. And, I'm a tall white. I had time on Apu, and I ascended from Sirius B, and I'm an 11th dimensional aspect here to just help prepare the lands of the mind for the coming return and the rise of the divine feminine, and also a continuation of the unity consciousness grid.
Okay, so I'm going to translate some of this. I know that many of you caught all of that, but to put it in layman's terms, which is, anyway, I remember you used to help with survival training.
Yes.
You taught that.
I taught weapons and explosives and things like mostly weapons, how to kill people
Yeah, but wasn't there a part of you also that helped people, like that is your
Yes.
like if shit goes down, you
Yes.
want Mitch in your backyard.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Yeah.
so that is, and I personally, and I'm not trying to back anybody up here, but I don't believe in the world's going to turn upside down, apocalyptic.
No, I don't
You know,
either.
this big pink wave's going to come and hit us and knock us out, and people are going to disappear. I mean, that's so freaking Hollywood, and that's been done. I mean, it's like in Hollywood, and I believe that it's already happened. I believe that when we talk about the shift and we talk about the dimensional, and we just say fifth dimension, fourth dimension, third dimension, and I mean, from a science standpoint, yes, that those are documented, but from what we're talking about, it's an energetic shift, and so we have to categorize it in a way, and so that's what and I believe it's already happened.
Yes, 3, 4, and 5 are actually. Keep in mind, this is my truth, and whatever resonates with you, keep it, and what doesn't, junk it. But it is my knowing, and I've been pretty good with the clairsentient thing.
Yeah.
So it is my knowing that 3, 4, and 5 and all their densities of those dimensional aspects are coexisting right now, but the separation is going to get much broader as we move into the 2020. And we are
keep hearing that.
Yeah, we're like a guiding light to allow free will and conscious decision making for those that want to come on the ride, and for those that don't, then they stay with what they're doing.
Right, and so to me, how that looks is that people just sort of fall out of your life. Not in a, I mean, yes, some of it could be death, but most of it is just, hey, whatever happened to Fred?
Yeah, they just vibrate out.
Where did Fred go? And it's Fred's over doing his own thing, and it's that.
Yeah, I
is
like
the
to
way I
use
feel
that
about it.
fan analogy a lot, but yeah.
What fan analogy?
You know, the slow spinning fan.
Oh, I always think of the fast one, and it looks like it's going backwards.
Well, you know, when people want to talk about hertz and cycles, and if they're geekies or techies or whatever, then it's easier to give an analogy of a shop fan or a home fan spinning on slow, and each blade you can see clearly when that's third dimensional.
I like
Okay,
that.
so then we crank the fan up a little bit to medium, and now it's spinning a lot faster. You only see 1 or 2 of the 8 blades, and then when you put it on full throttle, you can see right through it.
That's phasing out.
So that's phasing out and moving up. So we spin up in vibration, and then basically that's why they're all around us right now. You get the goosebumps, as I am now. And if you're spinning in a higher dimensional reality, it's basically a frequency or sine wave, as in 60 hertz, 70 hertz, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So it's not a location; it's a dimensional frequency of vibration.
So I'm just laughing at that because I heard moving on up.
Yep,
Remember from
to
the
the U-Haul.
Jeffersons to the U-Haul. Different story.
Yeah.
So that is a great way to put that. Sorry,
Yeah. No, you can see right through the fan when it's spinning fast, and that's why they can't see us.
So on the E-City Ranch, they have, at least they used to have pictures on their website where they were filming or they were taking pictures of people meditating, and they would phase in and out. Which I thought was really pretty cool.
That's a pretty good example of people bumping up their vibration as they sit there. Yeah.
You know, I've always said, even when I was younger and just a total numbskull, I would say, you know, how do we know that ETs aren't sitting right here? It's just that they vibrate so high that, I mean, I have no idea what I was thinking. I know, right?
Bingo.
Anyway, so you are full of so much information and I mean, serious, just like this encyclopedia of off-world, on-world, underworld. I mean, just so much stuff. And again, I think of James Gilliland saying, "Don't want to fire hose the seedlings," but
it's hard to hold back.
I know it is, because you want to impart this information and you want to activate and you want, I mean, there's just so much. And I do have to say that I remember talking to you one day and you're and it was like you were in such a holding pattern. Like you were just, it's like, I know something's coming and I can't feel it. And it gets, and I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something. And I know that I'm seeking, I'm searching. And it wasn't that you were seeking. You weren't seeking. You weren't searching. Yes, you were reading, but your reading was more, I don't know, it was really an eclectic, interesting group of books. But at the same time, you were like I could just see you running, and they had their hand on your head going, not yet, not yet, not yet. Okay, go. And you took off. And I mean, this has really been in the last, I'd say, year that you have just, I mean, we're talking, I mean, I always say this, I don't even know where to go with this, because it is your healing capabilities. Let's start there, because you are being drawn, and it's funny that Apu, I mean, you're being drawn to Mexico, you're being drawn to these healing, I'll let you run with that. Okay, do you want me to frame it a little bit more?
Can you give it a little bit more framework?
Okay, so let's go back. So when did you realize that you could astral travel and heal people? Because you did it with David. I mean, you did it with my buddy David in McAllen. I know you went in, because I put out a call saying, okay, David's going in, brain tumor, and you call me back, you're like, okay, this is what I found. And so let's start there.
Well, I had a bit of a beautiful disaster relationship, and it was a
lot of growth.
A lot of growth, and it was the ending of Mitch and the codependence and stepping into who I really am now. And it was all the holding the back thing. It had to wait until that Sedona event occurred so that all that could go down. It had to transition out of the marriage and into that situation.
Which your marriage was not a bad one.
No,
she's
it was
lovely.
Absolutely beautiful woman, but that was for Mitch,
right?
And not Aaron,
right?
So there is no attachment to all that. I have a beautiful daughter, and I feel love for her, but not in the father way.
But not in the creepy way.
Not in a creepy way. No creepy way.
Sorry, that just has to be said. It is the Me Too time.
Yeah. So from that relationship, I had to do a lot of learning.
Sorry about that.
I had to figure out what was going on in my brain chemically and scientifically.
Yeah.
And it's basically when you have a narcissistic trauma bonding situation, you have basically heroin going over your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And to recover from that, I had to figure out scientifically what was going on so that I could fix it. For me, it's science. I had to fix it scientifically. I didn't, self-medicate or anything like that,
right.
because I came off all those medications and I didn't want to go back on them.
How many were you on in the height of your medication?
In the height of the medication, I was on 300 milligrams of morphine every day for 15 years.
What the
six 7.5 Vicodins every day for 15 years. Heavy venlafaxine and nortriptyline, and basically 33 pills a day at 242 pounds. I'm now 177 pounds with a 30-inch waist. I had a 38-inch waist. My eyes were brown. They went blue, and now they're yellow.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What doctor gave you that cocktail of... I mean, was that the same? I mean,
slow acting. It's the slow acting.
Doesn't matter.
SA, they call it.
Isn't morphine what you're on when you're in hospice? I mean, isn't it? I mean, morphine's
that's a morphine drip, instant release. So what they do is they have some wax type stuff around it, and it slowly releases into your body, and you do 100 milligrams in the morning, 100 milligrams in the afternoon, 100 milligrams at night. 400 milligrams of trazodone to try to go to sleep, pop an Ambien.
God, you're like Elvis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn.
I was walking around like that,
like
oozing
zombie.
crap out of every inch of me.
I was like, oh, no, don't. I'm visual, remember?
We're not, no visual. Yeah, we're both, we both seeing pictures, mind to mind, not really telepathically, but mind to mind.
No, sometimes telepathically.
Yeah, that too. I hear you. So yeah, and as soon as after the plasma strike, I commenced to start to just have a knowing to get off of that. So I was doing 33 pills a day, and now and those are all prescription pills.
I was going to say they're from the VA, right?
Yeah, thank you, VA. Appreciate it. They don't treat the root. They
just medicate.
Yeah, they just medicate. You know how that works. So.
Well, but a lot of times, a lot of those things, I have to. I mean, I'm not taking up for it, but they're not trained to figure out how to fix all. I mean, yes, medically
they
do
have doctors.
Well, no. I'm just saying that was such a holistic. I mean, I think there are so many people in the VA, and it is a government hospital, and I think that it is. I mean, I'm not knocking the doctors.
Right. No.
I mean, it's not like they say, okay,
great
what else
people.
can we do? How can we help heal this person? Anyway.
Honestly, a lot of the vets are, we just need immediate help. And it's something, and then while they
triage,
go after, they triage. So we need immediate assistance to bring us down. You got a lot of shooters and stuff that we need to keep
the PTSD.
Together.
Yeah.
Most, I'll be honest with you, most veterans are committing suicide because they come back and realize they took a life.
Right.
And it's not, and the PTSD is just a pop fuse that needs to be rewired. And I'm learning through access consciousness, through somebody very special to me with bars and stuff like that we can solve a lot of things. And with magnets, I've watched dementia patients come back. Her mom's a dementia patient. I watched her come back, and those dementias are multidimensional, and I've talked to them and found them. So they really do exist. They're popped wide open. I
want to tell that story, and I want to back up. When you're talking about the bars, you're talking about the bars that you hold?
No, I'm talking about bars where you make contact points with cranial pressure points for a 45-minute period of time. So they're right around the back sphere of the cranial aspect. And then by pressing on certain points of those bars, they're activating different circuitry to rewire what is causing the problem. So it's called access consciousness. It's fascinating. I'm just learning about it.
I'm going to put that down because I would like that. Okay, so remind me of that. I think we just hit like 10 different shows right there.
Yeah,
okay, so backing
That's
it up.
how this works.
So I know. So you're on the meds.
Yes, I'm on
the meds. You got off the meds.
Yes, I did.
And how long did it take for you to get off the meds?
Well, I went a little too fast because that's just the way I roll.
Yeah.
And I hit it. I hit it running, and then I brought it back a little bit. But the morphine itself caused the restless leg syndrome. It drove me nuts.
Oh,
so I
had licking the battery again. I hate that.
The legs were jumping around, and I couldn't stand it. So I had to go back on the morphine, slowed it down. I did all this by myself. I titrated off with the recommendation of a very kind, lit pharmaceutical person in the VA. I don't want to mention the names, but she let me roll with it, but I checked with her. I would check with her and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Oh, it sounds good. And I'm still doing that kind of stuff.
So you're not just willy-nilly doing it.
No.
You have someone that
Yes.
you what's the word I'm looking for? You not contact you. What's that word? Like,
You got me. I don't know.
what's that word? Whatever. Anyway, that
I'm just kind of confirming with her that that's a good idea or not a good idea. And everything she said was
kind
not
of you
a,
meet with her to
Yeah.
say this is my plan.
Yeah, I had a plan. I had some knowledge coming downloads, lots of downloads, lots of left and right ear ring-ins and stuff like that. We can get into that too, especially people need to know what that left and right ear ring needs. So we need to remember to say that because that's an important point that people will need to understand.
It's not tinnitus.
No,
Or, I mean,
it's
it could
not
be.
tinnitus.
People should always get it
Yeah,
looked
well,
at,
not when
but-
it sounds like a tuning fork being rung in your ear and
I
then
know. I had
pressure
that
and
too.
then stops, right?
Right.
So
Okay, so you got off the meds, or
Yes.
you slowly, and then
Yeah.
you kind of had to retweak that a bit.
it took almost a year to come off all that stuff.
Oh my God, that's
8 months
amazing.
for the morphine, though.
No, that's incredible. I mean, that is because you're withdrawing from it, you're getting it out of your body, your
Yes.
systems, and because I'm sure that Aaron couldn't handle all of that.
No.
And so that's why. But isn't that interesting that you were put in almost this stasis until it was time?
Yes.
And then
And Jamie knew there were still 2 years left of healing and I said, no, I want to do it now. I wanted everything now. And she went, hold the boat. You need to retract that statement. And now I understand why, because
You're not
everybody that wakes up wants it all, and you are not ready.
Yep,
You
that's
are
what they kept saying. if
Not
you knew.
ready for that level of information.
Well, also, I think that I've been told this was like, yes, I do, and they said, no, because if you knew where you were going, you wouldn't go.
That's right.
You would be so full of fear. Where
Right.
when it's incremental, it's like, oh, there's the stone, the next step on my path. Oh, there's
Every
the next one.
mile of the path flips another switch.
It does.
You know, and when you have morphine running through your mind, it creates new synapses that want more morphine, and you got to give it time to come backwards. And now I help others to understand that you can do this, you know, and stuff like that. But you had mentioned the healing aspect of projecting and traveling, and something's recent. You know that something happened a couple times now since the last time when I came out here. So as far as your friend was concerned, during the healing process from that relationship that I had mentioned, I did a bunch of classes for me, you know, to heal me. I needed to recover. So I became a Reiki master. I became a crystal Reiki master. I became a shamanic journeyer, a shamanic soul retriever, a shamanic world traveler. And I'm just a shamanic practitioner. I'm just a dude in a meat suit. I'm not a yogi, a master, or any kind of dude like that. I'm just a dude in a meat suit coming here to help people, and then I'm going to leave.
Okay, wait. Number one, I love how you say that, and I love that you're just remembering. You're not learning.
It's re-remembering.
It's just turning on. It's like
Yes.
going through and going, where are the light switches? Okay, where? Okay, oh, there's
Right.
one. And so you're just going through, flipping on all of
Yeah.
these light switches, right?
Yeah.
And it is because I remember one day you called, and I don't know, you went astral hopping around one night, and you called. I'm like, no, you can't. You have to ask for permission.
Yeah, no, I came over and just you were in pain or something and having a hard time, and so I came over and ran energy on you. I said, how did you?
He's in Portland. I'm in Houston.
Yeah, well,
Well, not Portland, but not-
somewhere in Oregon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said you're on this side of the bed, and like, no, you can't do that. You
I'm
have
like,
to.
that's invasive.
I didn't get the rule. I didn't get the rule
Because
book.
you don't think like that anymore. I mean,
No.
I don't know if you ever did, because I didn't know
No.
you before, but you don't think like that.
I
Like,
understand
it would
the
never,
rules now.
It would never occur to you
No.
that I mean, I've said this before, but Jamie Butler, right before we had her on the show, night before I went in to kind of, because I like go in. I don't do it on purpose, but I got to start thinking about someone, and I can feel them.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, where is she? It's like, ding, 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 ding. Like I kept hitting this metal. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So the next day I said, oh yeah, I tried to connect. She's like, nope, this shit's locked down. You're
She's
not
got
going
a
to see
bunker.
any of it. Yeah.
She's got
and
a
it's
bunker.
like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's when I really got it, that even
Yeah.
unconsciously connecting to people
Yeah.
is
It's a violation.
It's a violation
Yeah,
because
it's
they're
a
not
boundary
asking.
violation, right?
Yeah.
You have to be invited in, like the Divine Mother invites you into her temple, or the Divine Father. Yeah,
Okay.
you can request permission to do that. Go ahead.
No. You can, and that's something that I want to talk about. Can we say her name?
Who?
V. We'll just call
We'll
her V.
just call her V. Yeah.
So you met this person.
Yes.
And I mean, I was instantly in love with her.
But we need to go back to the astral travel thing before we.
Okay. Let's.
Yeah, because there's a couple events that have happened, and I would like the people that are watching this or listening to this to understand that this is possible. This is absolutely possible. And I have a friend of mine, who I won't mention her name, but she's a Viking goddess back in the Oregon area, and I went to go pick her up and see her. I was picking up a crystal, and something flew past me and jumped her, and she started wigging out, and I took her outside and started doing cutting and stuff like that, just cutting cords and trying to run light on her. So
cutting cords, is that when like something kind of like...
Yeah, it's like the octopus thing, when somebody needs more energy, but this ended up being a shadow being, and she had a couple missing souls. She had fractaled souls, so she had some trauma in her childhood that was blocked. And I knew something was going on. So when you have some trauma in your childhood, you have a part of your soul that's removed so that you can get through that trauma without feeling it. You remove yourself, and a piece of your soul is removed, and they call that a soul retrieval or fractaled soul or fractured soul. So for her, it's like a pizza pie. She had a piece of the pie missing, and she has a hole that they can get into, and she's experiencing this multiple times. It just so happened that I was there now.
Wow.
Okay, so she started wigging out, and that was the moon, the last full moon ceremony that we did. That was that night. So that night I'm with an elf mage with yellow eyes. Her name happens to be Crystal. Amazing. They got the ranch that I work with the horses at, and I learned about the horses. And so I got a call saying, "Hey, Mitch, we need you over here. But actually, we need Aaron." So I said, okay. I shot over there. And what I saw before me was straight out of an Exorcist movie. Cannot look at me. And the thing that what they told me is that the thing cannot look at your light directly, or it will burn or go back to source or matrix. It cannot get it to look at you. Can you get it to look at you? When I said, oh man, getting twisted up in a pretzel right before your eyes with your head spinning like in ways that it shouldn't be spinning. And
that's what was happening to her?
To her. And I had already completed the shamanic journeying soul retrieval thing for myself. I had somebody tell me I needed a soul retrieval. Well, actually, it was them, but I got to learn how to do it. So I called up my elf mage and a very Catholic woman. I said, "You pray and you do what you do." And I said, "Here I come, asshole!" And I turned on the drumming music for my shamanic journey. I jumped in. I took my power animal, which is Ekoti. It's a 6-foot-tall bald eagle. And we went inside, and immediately I saw this gunslinging 1850s trench coat, black hat, nothing but wide eyes, black face, wide eye thing. And out of nowhere, I started to describe it, and my friend, Haley, Haley said, "That's him!" And I said, "You got to go, bro." So I had...
So you guys were seeing the same thing?
I saw it, yeah. We saw it together. She said, "That's him." But what I also saw was little Haley at 3 and little Haley at 7, and he was oppressing them in a tree trunk. In the it's the lower world, not the underworld, but the lower world. The underworld's coming. So I
coming, or we're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. The next thing. So basically the elf mage and the Catholic friend saw it go out the window. Physically saw it go out the window. Now these people are lit, so that they saw it go out the window, and Haley collapsed. So I knew that we had cleared it, and I had to finish the ceremony. All of a sudden, the mage and the Catholic out the go, and I'm holding Haley and sobbing at the same time. And I said, you're free, rest now." And I went back to the full moon ceremony, and she has done nothing but excel and do extraordinary advances. But in that journey, I grabbed 3- and 7-year-old little Haley's, and I blew them back into her crown. And she literally came up and shrieked, and what was that? And before I left, I blew the little ones back in. And now she's come to tell me through her work while I've been on the road for a month that, yes, things happened at 3 and 7, verified and validated. But at the same time, I got you, bro. At the same time, she called me and said...
You're about to cry.
I know. She said that my friend has been run over on his motorcycle, and his girlfriend is got a crushed pelvis, but his brain is swelled, and he's no longer breathing on his own. and she asked me, what can you do? Find his soul. I feel like he's lost. And so I did a journey, found him in the underworld in the dark. He was lost. He wouldn't trust me. He's a biker, outlawish biker. And I got him to trust me, and he came back in. Now I'm almost in Mexico, and this is happening in somewhere Oregon. And I put him back in his body and told him, you got to stay, bro. There's people that love you. If this is your path, then stay. If it's not, then go with God. And 45 minutes later, he was breathing on his own, and they unattached the life support from him, and he's doing better now today. And his girlfriend is out of the hospital now. And I'll be back there in 8 days to go and say hi to the guy. So
what did that look like? What did that look like when you went into the underworld?
Dark. Really dark.
And he was just couldn't find his way back?
No, he was just wandering around, yeah.
So had the cord been severed?
Yeah. Yeah, he was lost. Yeah, because of his belief system, he was lost. And I have another very prominent angelic energy worker that's a friend of Haley's that is keeping his cord attached until I get back or until he's fully back. But he's breathing on his own and recovering. Now, I'm not. You
don't have to. Okay, you don't have to qualify it.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I said
we're talking 3 or 4 times now that I've done this and with positive results.
So these like just doing Reiki classes and just
it's just the structure and the foundation that was necessary.
Yeah, but I feel very strongly that what you are well on your way to doing and already doing is so much bigger than our alternative world. So I feel like there's mainstream, and then there's an alternative energy.
And I know what it is.
And then what you're doing is so beyond that.
I'm bringing in a higher dimensional aspect of this now. You know.
He cries a lot now. I can't imagine him with a AR. I always get confused. 14, 15, whatever they are.
Whatever. Yeah, it's not part of my world anymore, but it's still a skill set I have to have until it's no longer necessary.
Have you gone in to check on the people that were affected?
Left ear.
By?
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm getting a left ear hit.
That's funny.
So it's a confirmation for me that.
So have you gone in to check on the people that were affected by Mitch in Act 1?
I have.
Yeah.
And I've cleared all that.
That's so funny. I haven't even thought to ask you that personally.
No, you never have. I've cleared it. And they're not a part of anything I do anymore, but it's cleared.
But the people that were affected by it?
Yeah, it's cleared. It's done. I'm good. I'm fully whole and healed and good to go. I've cleared Mitch's path and his cross-dimensional and also his familial situation. Father, mother, uncles, brothers. The brothers and I don't really have any contact. Same with the daughter, ex-wife thing. Mm-hmm. So that's just the way it is. It's not supposed to hold me back. I'm going this way. And
how did they feel about that, though?
It's a sacrifice that is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great sacrifice.
Okay, so I pulled a card yesterday, and I haven't. I'm pulling cards I've never pulled. I usually pull the same ones, and I'm pulling cards, and I'll put the whole deck out, and that's a lot of cards. And I pulled sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, and it was like, why am I pulling sacrifice? I know why. So okay.
Like you said, there's a lot of information, and we have to bounce around to get to whatever spirit wants to be told right now.
No, I agree. I completely agree. And it is, so I know. And I was like, only thing I want to talk about are entities. But that whole story needs to be told.
It needs to be told.
It's so phenomenal. And
believing is seeing, not the other way around.
No, I agree.
Believing is seeing.
Well, I don't want to see negative entities. No, I've seen them a couple of times.
There's balance in all things. Karen.
I know. Well, in this world, there's duality. So
this is not a world, it's a realm.
It's a realm, yes, I know. And that's, okay, so what, and both times that I saw something first, I'm like, and then I'm like, all right, motherfucker, you need to just go. And it does. It just goes, oh, okay, fine. She's not afraid of me.
As soon as me and V corded up energetically,
they started popping in.
They started, yeah.
Okay, so I want to go there. So you've met this person who I just, so funny, where I feel her is right here, and I feel her very solidly, very,
She's here with us.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is. And it's so funny because so you met this person and you went. Oh no! Before we go there, I wanted to ask you. So Mitch isn't completely gone.
No, he punches back in every now and then. It's a coexisting environment.
But how? What would you say ratio is?
Oh,
the difference
it's like a
between Mitch
90-10. He just pops in when necessary. When some of
and
the
hanging
skill.
out with Eric or something.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, they're buddies.
I bet they
Mitch
are.
is permanently 30 with Bermuda shorts and Mission Beach in San Diego ish.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. No, I see that. Yeah. Drinking beer. Okay, so.
A lot of beer.
So recently, I've always been pulled to Mexico, and we did the bullfighting show, and we are going to. I'm not sure when or how, but we are going to go to Mexico and check out with the bullfighters that were on before. So there's something magic, and there's something beautiful, and there's something accepting there, and I'm wondering. So you've met this person who is, and I'll just let you take it away. Go for it.
She's from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
She came across the hard way and went through an extremely traumatic, narcissistic relationship for 27 years.
Okay, we don't have to tell her whole backstory. Or do you want to? Does it?
Well, it actually builds into who she is now.
Okay.
All right. So we don't have to touch on that, but she just went through a lot of trauma like people do in narcissistic relationships until they find their own power and they stand on their own. And when that happened about 7 years ago, the Mighty 7, she did exactly what I did. She learned all this stuff to heal herself and found out she's a powerful Mother Mary healer, including bars, running energy from any time, any place, anywhere. It doesn't matter. And we have triangulated I know there's only two people, but we're able to bring our powers together and unite as two whole energy healing souls and bring people's energy and alignment back to where it needs to be. And she's been doing fantastic things, and her mother has dementia, and she works with magnets and cups and bars, access consciousness, the questions, what else is possible, what can the universe show me that I've never even thought possible in my life, and don't answer. Let the universe answer all those questions. If you answer, you limit yourself. So I'm teaching her, she's teaching me, and we take it into Mexico, into Mexicali. There's a temple there that's a pyramid underneath it. It's a very unmarked building with 3 portals there. And I've had the great experience of being there and watching things happen. And we're just doing really beautiful things. She's a beautiful soul. She works with developmentally challenged children, and she has one of her own and a mother of dementia. She's got 5 children, one with developmentally challenged, one that has dementia, and then spends her whole day working with adult developmentally challenged people. And very, very
love somebody like that.
Mother Mary energy.
Mm-hmm. No, I know what you're saying. You're like doing everything but winking at me. So you two talk about, or if you want to talk about what happened when you were in the temple. Well, just in very broad strokes.
As long as it's understood that I'm coming from a place of humility.
Well, okay, no, let's not go there. So you have felt, did you, when you went to these temples, and it's not a religious temple, it is a metaphysical temple.
Yes, it's metaphysical.
And
in Mexico.
You were activated. Did you feel like you were home?
Yes, I couldn't understand a word that was being said, but I got it. Basically, after the ceremony that had concluded, 2 women had walked up to me, and I realized that something had happened, that they had saw my light, and my light is visible. My auric field, my yellow auric field, which is one of the friends that showed up at the party that first night, said, your auric field is so bright yellow, and that is of a master teacher. And so it's all these confirmations are coming, and I don't mean like I'm a master. I mean that auric field is very specific, and she's very talented in that area. I'm not even sure who it was, but I didn't get a chance to know everybody. But what happened in that temple was the light expanded, and if you could third dimensionally, or Hollywood say the wings expanded for 2 people to see that needed that message that night. They came up and hugged me. There is a protector of the temple that is there that has been there 20 years, Nabor, and he laid his hands on me, and then I laid my hands on him, and many things happened, and there have been other people that have come through, and he just made me realize to step into my power more because of the abilities that I have, and I need to recognize that. And it's very humbling because you don't want to ever come from a place of ego. It's humble.
It's a very fine line, though. It is a very fine line, and that is something I've struggled with. And it's not that
I do too.
Or that I think any. It is. I've just seen too many people go down. Like, they start collecting people. They start thinking that they're the guru, and I think anybody that calls themselves guru is probably not really a guru.
Yeah, I'm never going to be a shaman. I'm never going to be that dude.
I think shamans are. I mean,
you never call yourself a shaman. I'm a practitioner. That's it.
But I think just getting, stepping off on that, I think that it is. We do like labels, but I think what you're doing is not labelable.
It's a context that I have to give to help people understand what I'm talking about.
But okay, and maybe shamans are much.
Look, the shaman does not belong just to the American Indian. It belongs to the people of Lemuria that brought it here from the planet that I was on. It's much larger and greater. They do own a certain aspect of it, but the Native Americans are Lemurians. Mm-hmm. So I'm a Lemurian. I'm a tall white.
The sky people.
Yes. So, I mean, yeah, they own it, but they have a lot of things they need to clear to be able to move on because of what has happened to them,
That's true. Well, I mean, but talking about the path, and I think balancing the human aspect with the spiritual aspect, that's why I think so many people are drawn to sit in a cave and meditate.
Yes.
Because it's easier.
Yeah.
But you have to be out in the world. I mean, the world needs the light now, right now.
Right now.
And so I think that's not an option. But then when people start putting these labels on you, and you can do this and you can do that, and oh my gosh, you're that. I think some people succumb to it and say, yes, I am. Yes, I am. And that'll be $1,000, please. And which is, I mean, money's energy. I feel very strongly about that. That's all it is.
That's why I'm driving 8,000 miles twice a year doing free energy healings, because I
have something to say about that, because I remember this woman, Georgina, and she's just a grousey woman. She came and she stayed with me one night, or one weekend, and she said, she'd work all day, then at night she would work with homeless people, she'd run energy on them, and she would do all of this stuff, and she did it for free. And after about 2 years, she said, I'm done. I'm exhausted.
Right. Energy exchange wasn't happening.
No. It was. What happens is when you're doing it, you're clearing your own channel.
Yes.
And you're cleaning up yourself.
Yes.
And you're learning. And I remember James Van Praagh saying how horrified he was that these people came to a workshop of his, and then, guess what, I'm a medium, and they went out and they hung their sign, and he was horrified. He said that's so irresponsible. You have to be in service. He didn't say it this way, but
I get it though.
But you do have, because there's a lot of stuff that does need to clear out, because those imbalances are when you find out that the guru is actually doing not so nice things with his power, and that we see it all the time.
So I'll give you an example, Carrie, of a situation. What I do is, there was a gentleman on his way back up to the Silicon Valley to start a new chapter of his life, and Patrick was heading out, and I put a crystal on him, and he goes, I can't, I do crystal necklaces, and the Lemurian crystals, for those people that would like to see it. They're very special crystals and not of this planet, and they're here for higher consciousness and expansion of the unity consciousness and all that. But he came back to thank me for all the words and energy that I shared with him, and I used your shamanic cord cutter that you gave me.
Yay!
In every ceremony I do. I cut him free. And, he started to cry, and he goes, I have nothing for you. And I just looked down, I grabbed a rock, and I put it in his hand, and I said, I'll be right back. And I went and get the crystal necklace, and I let him hold that rock for about 10 minutes, and I blessed him, put the necklace on him, and I said, okay, pay up. So he gave me back the rock, and I put his initial, I drew it in with colors from your pink box with different stuff that I glued on it. And
you glued stuff on the box?
I glued it on the rock.
Oh, that's
I'm going to have to glue the
cool.
box back together, though. It's not so great anymore. It's
took
kind
a
of
tumble.
all over 10. So that was the energy exchange that was required. It could be a penny, a piece of paper that says I love you. It could be something that, like the other trucker, he gave me a rock he had been carrying around of I don't know what it was, but it was special to him, so he gave it to me because I put a crystal on him. And that's what I do.
I love that story, by the way. I love the trucker story. It reminds
amazing.
me of the drummer boy.
There are no coincidences.
No,
Great.
no. You want to tell us that story? I love that story. I want you to tell that story.
Which one?
With the fellow you guys met that was driving the truck?
The driving the truck thing. Yeah, I'm going to come over and check out your tent.
That's what this guy said.
Yeah.
Because you have a tent on top of your car.
Well, I used to have a 10 on
Truck.
a little trailer, but it also went flipping down 10 recently.
I get a phone call from him, and he's like, the weld broke on this trailer I'm pulling, and it went tumbling down the freeway. Unfortunately, no one was hurt.
No one.
And
not one.
My son was
80
in the car.
miles an hour.
Holy shit. Yeah, so I'm curious about that. But it is.
It's the speed limit.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, but so you met this guy.
Yeah,
you met this guy.
Right. Well, he met me. He came over to check out my tent trailer thing that I had made.
And he's a guy that drives trucks.
Yeah, he's a trucker. I'm staying at a
trucker,
truck stop in El Centro, and we just started up this conversation, and he just wouldn't go away. He kept coming back and talking about things, and he was talking about things about his health and stuff, and I just had an answer for everything that he was looking for. And I couldn't stand it, so I went ahead and put one of my Lemurian sea crystal necklaces on him.
Passes them out everywhere.
Sort of.
Yeah.
If I feel you need one, you're getting one way or another. But if you'll accept it, you just have to openly receive and then be ready for it. So, and they change right before he starts crying and he does the whole thing. I said, Did
you cry too?
Of course. Always. My heart chakra is blasted open. You know that. I'm lit. Yeah. So he came back and said he's got this rock that he does his thing with all along on his drives, and this guy's from Pennsylvania or some other place, and he's only come this way once into the San Diego region to pick something up. And because I was currently in El Centro at that time, California, right across from Mexicali, Mexico, and he comes back with this like 8-pound rock of something. It's granite with pyrite. That's what it is. So it's got the glitter in it, the pyrite, which is the rock.
The weight of a head.
Right, which is the same rock in the cave that had collapsed. It's the same thing. It's the same kind of rock that was above my head.
Refer to the other show.
Yeah, refer to the other show. Orbs in the Caves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I taught him all about the hydration and the healing and how he was holding on to his crap, and he needs to clear his old crap so that he can move into his new crap and whatever.
His new divine beauty.
Yeah,
How
just
about
his
that?
new divine beauty. And the guy just left changed, and V was right there with me, and it was an amazing thing. We both laid hands on him. We both pulsed him, because I pulsed you the first night we came here.
Why did I just see... I saw you both coming at him with your
Yes,
hands, and somebody
yes.
running, going, "No!"
No, yeah,
touch
we try. Basically, it's a triangle of our heart chakras with our sends and receives. So we run it through his body, and it just did stuff, and it does that to everybody we do this to, and it's changing people's lives, and it's a really beautiful thing. And yes, I cry a lot because the amount of love and beauty that's being expelled from not only me, because I don't follow the rules really well, so when I do energy healing, I'm bringing in 11th dimensional aspect, the Divine Father, the Divine Mother, universal life force. So I'm bringing my dimensional aspect plus the Divine Father, Mother, and the universal life force in, and I don't care. I don't need to follow the rules because I'm getting rules from a little bit higher than the dude that created it.
And the thing is that when... So at Rice University, which is this college here in town, my husband said when he that's where he went to school, that they didn't have sidewalks because they didn't want you to follow the path that everybody else followed. Which of course,
Brilliant.
You ended up walking the same path because it didn't have mud on it and whatever. But it is when you're laying new energy and when you're bringing new energetic lines in and you're anchoring them in this world. You don't follow the rules. You just don't because there are no rules.
These rules were made by man here.
Right. And they worked. They work. We have to have
It's for
unity.
foundation and structure, and like time is an illusion thing, but they had to have structure in this realm to be able to help the humans come along.
Well, and it is. I'm going to touch on something. I'm not sure how much time we have. About 10 more minutes. I want to touch on something too that in knowing you.
For almost 3 years now, by the way.
I know. I love that. Yes, I have, and we can cut this out if you want. So I have watched you just expand and grow, and it's like the more I know you, the more childlike you are.
I'm only an 8th grader.
This I can deal with 8th graders. I got a couple of those. It is, well, one. But it's like your heart and your energy is so freaking huge. And it is, there is a point of figuring out how to contain it. You know, there is, there is. I mean, and it's
Trying.
this, well, and it's hard because you're dealing with muggles. You know, you're in a muggle world.
Yeah.
And it is such a beautiful thing. But ultimately, you got to do you because,
Yes.
I mean, and
That's
I'm just
my
talking
term,
about,
actually.
you got to do, yeah, you do. Yeah, that is your term. Sorry, I hijacked it.
It's okay.
But
it's meant to.
But you have to, Aaron is learning how to be human.
Yes.
He is.
It's difficult. It's like molasses in the winter times. This meat suit, walking through molasses in winter time is very difficult.
Yeah.
It is. And that was part of the transitional period is becoming fully assimilated and entwined into this vessel. The vessel was primed for this job. It was very empathic and compassionate because of the beginning story of the Hells Angels and all that, you know, the brother writing the books about our lives growing up in Oakland and stuff. And that is why we cannot allow Mitch to destroy the vessel. But it was too primed. It was prime soiled to be able to accept the seed necessary for Aaron to be able to do the mission. I still carry the skill sets of Mitch that are necessary for this with Aaron. Okay, and then when skill sets of Mitch come in, you'll see the flip from, as you say, like the Rambo guy into the full-on loving energy guy. And I have to have those while those things still exist.
Right.
As long as we're existing in an environment that has those kind of things, I am still going to have those skill sets until it's no longer necessary.
Well, and I see that. I see that it is a. I'm curious though, why? Oh, actually, I just got my answer. So I was going to ask you, why did Aaron walk into such a completely black and white situation? And then I realized because you have to be able to walk among everybody.
Yes, and also we're bringing in the men's men.
Yeah, you're not an airy-fairy guy.
I'm not the man bun man. You can cut that if you want.
Man.
That is what Eric said.
No, I love that. I think it's
when
funny.
Eric said, you're going to be my voice, I'm the voice of a man's man, not a man buns man, that pendulum swung too far that direction. We have many, many warriors out there that need to come into their heart space before they destroy the vessel. So I'm here to walk the walk and talk the talk with them to help bring them into that heart space of their divine feminine, to get out of their head of the divine masculine, because that has screwed this realm up. Mm-hmm. So we need them to come back into their divine heart space.
Yeah, but you know what?
Please tell me.
What pisses me off, and I have boys, I have 3 boys, and I kind of like men. I like men.
Yes.
Yes, my husband loves to cook, and yes, my husband he's very balanced.
But it can be balanced, though.
But it's balanced. It's not, it also feels like we've gone now we're going the other way, which I think is what you're saying.
That's what I'm referring
the man
to.
Is that it's like, it's not okay to be a man. It's not okay to
Yeah, it's okay. That'll go away in the separation of the dimensional aspects.
It's like we want everybody to be a he, she. I have real issues. I don't have issues with it because I just love people, and I don't care
we're not
who you are.
Putting labels and shit on anything right now. We're just describing the essence of the soul that we're talking about here. I would like to make a point that we touched on earlier before the show ends, is that the something with M and Miss M that has been discussed back a little while back is that these mental health institutions internationally, there is going to be a team, and I believe that we met many of that team at our little conference. That is the hits that I'm getting that are going to help.
Which conference?
The one we just did.
Oh, really?
Yes, there was some very powerful people there that have great knowledge. Excuse me. But these mental health institutions, starting in the VA, they're starting to bring in EFT and acupuncture. They're also going holistic with some Reiki, and I have approached the VA, and they don't want me yet. But the whole idea is that civilian mental health institutions are going to be flipped into holistic healing environments with meditation and acupressure, acupuncture, Reiki, shamanic work. All of these skill sets that we do, we're going to be traveling internationally and helping logistically and teach the teachers to do the job. We won't be doing the job, but we're here to help guide those and cross those that do the work into this area to help all the mental health, because all this stuff, all the drugs and everything has got to go away. And the things that we're holding on to that we're not clearing are manifesting into physical distortions. And a lot of the cancers and stuff, regardless of how it got there or what's going on, these things can be cleared with alternative means, period.
But unfortunately, when you're diagnosed with something, time is of the essence, and that's a lot of changing.
It is.
You have to do in order to trust
It's
something
not going to
like that.
happen.
You know, you just want to live to see your children grow up.
Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, but it is the beginning of a process of a changeover in the mental health institutions.
Well, also, I know with like MD Anderson, which is a huge research facility here in Houston, they do have acupuncture. They do have a holistic. They have a department that's if someone wants it, they learn how to meditate, learn how. So I think you're right, and I think that is. And I've always implemented. We do something called NAET, N-A-E-T, and it's an offshoot. It's acupuncture with. They believe, anyway, look it up. It's really cool. But they believe that it is. Everything originates, and it can be generationally. You know, everything originates. Like if I have horrible allergies, it's true. The allergies, we don't just mask it. We go back and we tell the body, hey, you don't have to react this way. And I have watched my son he was 2, my oldest son, and we were doing NAET. And I do it my kids have their shots, but then I clear them after each shot. We didn't do all of the shots at one time.
Right.
We did them individually, and then I would go in and clear them so that the body wouldn't get stuck somewhere in the body. And it's really funny because the guy that I go to is wonderful, and I want to talk. And this is at the very beginning of my journey, and I'd bring up metaphysics, and he's an ex-CPA who was like dying. Like they couldn't figure out what was going on. Medicine didn't work on him, and they carried him into the office. So he was healed, and he decided that he needed to go ahead and do this, and he is wonderful, but he's like, I don't believe in all that stuff. And it's like, okay, fine, you practice it, you do it, we don't have to talk about it. But it is. So Charlie, my older son, he was 2, and he had these hives, and we didn't know what was happening, and they cleared up on the table. And it's this vial, it's this molecular imprint, this machine that costs ton of money, and they imprint this, and you have all of these nerve endings in your fingers, and it tells the body this thing that's bothering you, it doesn't need to. And I have seen, and they usually do come back one time, and then they go away completely.
It's very similar to bars in access consciousness. And the other, I would like to say, as a note, I know that we have to get going, but do you remember how much self-healing I did? On my own, by running light on myself and telling my cells to change. I removed growths, but I spent 6 years on antibiotics shoved down my throat for folliculitis from that tour I went on playing drums. And folliculitis is a fungal of the follicle, but I used apple cider vinegar to basically, because my body's pH, as Aaron, is so elevated in pH, that I used the apple cider vinegar to balance my pH, and it went away.
So how did you do it?
I just 4 teaspoons a day.
You drank it, or you sat in it?
No, I put 4 teaspoons a day in some water, and I would drink that water, just down it because it tastes so bad. And then I would do maintenance doses. So I was doing three times a day, 4 teaspoons a day in basically a mason jar that I drink out of, which is a quart or a pint or something like that. I don't know. It's one of them standard mason jar things. What y'all call put that stuff in there. And
put that stuff in that thing, and then we drank it.
Yeah, and then we drank it. So I did that for about 6 weeks, and it was all gone. No more antibiotics being done, and it's never, basically, when my pH starts to get weird, I get a little itchy. I'm in the 7 to 8. I'm highly alkaline, so I maintain.
So nothing can live in that body.
Nope.
So back, I have 2 people.
Haven't been sick either.
Very strong. I have 2 people that are very close to me that have folliculitis, and it's normally on like your legs and your rear end, right?
Well, for me, it was on my back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's I'll have to pass that on, because the stuff that they told me to do was like this. I mean, it was just 85,000 steps, and it was antibiotics too. And I was like, so, but I also don't. Anyway.
You can use warm compresses. You can put it in a bath. Use your Epsom salts.
Oh, you're gonna smell so good if you bathe in vinegar.
Well, it's apple cider vinegar, but you shower afterwards. Whatever.
You know what I'm making right now?
What?
I'm making it's horseradish, and I had a big, huge piece of it, and I grated it, and then I decided to stick my nose in it. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I was going to die. Anyway, horseradish, ginger, habanero peppers, a lot of them,
had those.
16 cloves of garlic. I mean, and it's an orange and apple. You put all this stuff, ginger, a lot of ginger, said that, in apple cider vinegar, and then you let it ferment for 4 weeks.
That's right.
Dragon fire water.
Never throw away your avocado seeds. Shred them and put them in a mason jar with alcohol, and it becomes a miracle cure. V is bringing in so much Mexican cures, Latino cures. I'm finding out I'm a closet Latino. I didn't know that, but I'm a closet Latino.
I am too.
My Spanglish is outstanding.
We need to get you some Duolingo. I love Duolingo. Anyway, we should get you some Duolingo because the app, because it really does teach you how to speak Spanish. I can't wait to see what the next step is.
Not enough time in the day. Huh?
I know. Well, we'll just have to come on via Skype. What are you working on next? Tell me what's next.
International, I think, is coming, from what I understand. But what I'm working on next is just going back to somewhere in Oregon and packing out and heading down towards Puerto Peñasco, Mexico, or Rocky Point, get some property down there, and then use that as a jump point back into the States and just keep traveling on my little bitty Social Security. And
you're amazing. You can make $5 go 1,000 miles. I mean, it's incredible.
I'm loving it. It's the most beautiful blessing that God has been that I've experienced in my life, and being here with you is just a plus on top of that.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way. You teach me all the time.
And you teach me.
Thank you.
Very recently.
Well, I mean, I'm learning to not ghost.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Learning to not ghost. Yeah, I don't like feeling uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable. I think we all don't. I don't know. I just think you walk into things and
they're all lessons. There's
grow.
no good or bad things that happen. It's just
totally.
a lesson on the path to enlightenment.
Yes. All right, guys. If you want to reach him, how can they reach you?
Mitch Aaron Owens on Facebook, or Metaphysical Mitch.
Metaphysical Mitch.
And the email is specopsgunner308.
Wait, hold on. Spec, S-P-E-C.
S-P-E-C-O-P-S.
Gunner.
G-U-N-N-E-R. The number 308, as in caliber, at msn.com.
MSN.
It's a contrast in duality, but yes, I am a contrast in reality and duality.
You have to live here.
I do.
You don't move to a foreign country and not learn the language.
That's right.
You know? Anyway, well, guys, thank you. And this has just been such a delight. And it's so nice just to have you here. And next time we're going to do it at V's.
Oh, yes, we will.
I think that would be really wonderful. Okay, so again, reach out to him. You love to talk, and you answer most of your...
I answer everything.
He answers everything.
If you have a question, I'll answer it, and if I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody that does.
Awesome. All right, honey. Thank you again. And we will see you soon, and I think that's it. Over and out.